And good afternoon, Tánaiste. Firstly, I'd like to welcome the announcement of the COVID Business Aid Scheme. The €60 million funding will greatly help those businesses that have fallen outside the scope of the CRIS requirements. This scheme will be a great help to the hospitality sector if they do not qualify for CRIS or if they don't have a rateable premises and their turnover is significantly impacted. Or apologies, if they have a rateable premises. The Fáilte Ireland Business Continuity Scheme launched recently is also a positive move. Protecting those businesses that have fallen outside the remit of CRIS scheme is critical if we are to have a balanced approach during the return of normality for businesses and to ensure that some sectors are not left behind. Tánaiste. Secondly, I would like to raise the issue of the credit guarantee scheme. I welcome the news that several credit unions have signed up to distribute the credit from the scheme. We need to have as many channels as possible to ensure that all businesses which require credit can access it. However, if we are serious about building back better, we need to have the foresight to have the necessary tools in place to be a leader and market creator from a government perspective. The role of the government should be on market correction policies, and more focus should be on shaping the future in a stakeholder-driven approach with businesses and wider society. Giving more power to the Strategic Banking Corporation of Ireland would also be a great first step. The SBCI should have the ability to administer its own loans directly to businesses, instead of the current system which either sees the companies assessed by the SBCI and processed by the commercial banks, or directly assessed by the commercial banks. Tánaiste. As we can see from the KfW schemes in Germany, which the SBCI is modelled on, if we want our strategic investments to be successful for the government to play a dynamic role in the development of an economy, we need to give the SBCI the direct tools to do this. I would like to hear from the Tánaiste and his thoughts on this suggestion. And what I might also suggest as well, in recent times we've seen significant discussion on the arrival of Amazon in terms of having their logistics operations based in Ireland instead of the UK for the very first time. Perhaps one suggestion I might have for you, Tánaiste, is that your department could look into ways in which local entrepreneurs could exploit this opportunity. I think it would be a shame if we didn't do so, and it might help to mitigate the negative impacts of online shopping that it may have. So thank you very much.
Okay, Tánaiste Ministers, you have a few minutes to respond there.
Thanks, Deputies. I think some of these were raised earlier and were answered earlier, so I don't want to use up my time by giving the same answers again. Just to say, when it comes to pandemic unemployment payment, people are allowed to do some work and not lose their pandemic unemployment payment. I don't think that's just restricted to musicians. I think it's more general. Off the top of my head, I think it's up to as much as €480 a month and still retain the pandemic unemployment payment. But I'll double check that, and certainly the Department of Social Protection can do it for us. When it comes to home-based businesses are eligible for the employment wage subsidy, and those who run them or work in them are also eligible for the pandemic unemployment payment. They're not eligible for the CRSS or the CBAS because those are there for fixed costs. And the general view is that people who have a home business may not have very large fixed costs. They'll have some, but they mightn't be that large. Although in some cases that probably isn't the case, particularly if people have vehicles. So, we are open to schemes that might help vehicle-based businesses and home-based businesses with their fixed costs. But again, need to be very clear that the schemes that the government puts in place are to help with fixed costs, not to compensate for lost profits or compensate for lost income. And just a deputy suggestion on Amazon, they're investing hugely in Ireland, as you know, employing thousands of people and building new logistical centres here as well. And I definitely think we should seize that opportunity to encourage more Irish-based producers and companies to get on Amazon. And it is something I'm going to take up with them next time I meet them.
Ministers, anything? Okay.